Hello, hello, hello guys. Welcome to my channel. I am Tori Lynn. Let's blossom today. New Year's is just a few days away, which I cannot believe. We're at the end of 2020, which is honestly probably a huge blessing. I'm sure we are all thankful to be at the end. I don't know what 2021 brings us. Obviously none of us do, but I'm glad to be at the end of 2020. I hope 2021 brings us something a little bit better. But here we are. We have made it. So I want to bring you guys a New Year's Eve party makeup look, although I don't know that we're going to be doing any real partying this year, being that things are a little bit different. But I want to bring you a look that you could wear to your New Year's party or just to chill on the couch and watch the ball drop or whatever's going to be happening on New Year's Eve this year. I don't know. Anyways, if you guys want to see what I used and how I got here, how I created this really pretty, really fun look, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let's just jump into the video. So I'm going to go ahead and throw on my brows and prep my eyes really quickly just because I have this like dark smoke and like silvery eye in mind, and I want to be able to clean away that fallout really easy. And if I do the eye after I do my skin, cleaning up that fallout will not be as easy. So I'm going to go ahead and throw on my brow using the e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil. And I got a brand new one because mine just ran out. And then I'm going to carve the brows out and prime my lids using my Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Porcelain Beige. This is just my go-to shade. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those on and I will be right back. Alright, got them all prepped and ready to go. So let's just dive right into the eyes. Let's start with my Jeffree Star Cremated palette. I think that this palette will just have the right shades for what I'm wanting to go for here. I think first I want to actually set my lids down. I'm going to start with the matte white shade down here, or cream shade called Death Blow. And I'm just going to set down my lid with that shade. Because I'm starting with such a dark shade, I want it to blend out easy. Having that powder base will be able to blend it out a little easier. Now we're going to go in with the darkest shade in the palette called Hearse. It's basically a black shade. And I'm going to start by working that right in the crease. I'm not going to really drag it up above the crease. I will start working it down below the crease here in a minute, but for right now I'm just going to focus it right in the crease. Okay, so once I have that shadow kind of in the form I like it, I'm going to go and kind of start packing that shadow in to build up that color. Really stamp it down to really build up that dark color. Still just keeping it right in the crease. I'm not blending it out. I'm not smoking it out. I'm not doing anything. I'm just keeping it right in the crease. I'm just darkening up that black. Then I'm going to do the same to the other eye. So now I'm going to take one of the lighter, slightly taupier shades in the palette here. I think I'm going to go in with the shade called The Morgue. It's kind of more of a brown taupey gray shade. And I'm going to start to smoke out the edge of that black. Now if I had gone in and I had started to smoke out this black right away, basically I would have run out of blending room or room to smoke it out. I would have been like blending up into my eyebrow, and that's why I just put it in the crease. I don't have big eyes. I don't have a lot of lid space. I have kind of smaller hooded eyes. So if you have huge, big eyes with lots of lid space, then that's not really something you have to worry about as much. But even still, it just looks better to start within your crease and work these shades out when they're darker shades like this. If you're just working with a neutral color, it's not as big of a deal. But when you're working with these really intense dark shades, then you want to just start with it in a smaller area and smoke it out with something lighter later on. You could go in and do this with a dry brush. I prefer the look of using another shadow shade. I feel like it just blends that color a little better and gives it a softer smoke look. Then I just work on blending this until I'm happy with the status of the blend when I think everything looks pretty smooth and flawless, when I just like where it's blended to, and I'm just happy with my product, my outcome, whatever you want to call it. So now I'm pretty happy with it, so I'm going to stop here, and I'm actually going to do a cut crease. So I'm going to grab my concealer brush and my concealer, and I'm going to set this palette aside. I'm going to take my Shape Tape. I'm just going to put some on the back of my hand, and I'm going to take my concealer brush and just do my normal cut crease. I like to take a little palette with a little clean mirror and just bring it up nice and close. I'm just going to quickly throw on a cut crease. So now that I got those cut creases done, I'm going to go into another Jeffree Star palette, basically. It is actually the Shane Dawson Conspiracy palette, which is a collab, obviously, with Jeffree Star. And I'm going to jump into the silver shade in that palette, which is called Diet Cola. I almost called Diet Coke, but just Diet Cola. And I'm just going to pack that shade right on top of that concealer. And get the bulk of that concealer covered. Then I'm just going to take a brush and try to pack that shadow as close to the line of that cut crease as I can. Now I'm going to take that brush that I used to put in that dark black shade, and I'm kind of just going to go and feather or stipple right over the edge where the concealer and that black shade meet, just to kind of blend them in, to soften that concealer or cut crease edge just a little bit. You don't have to do this step, but I just kind of like to blur that line between the two. I just think that looks a little better, a little softer, a little less harsh than this side. And if you don't feel like there's enough product on there, you can always dip back in very gently to that shade. Now I'm going to take just this little brush with this super flat edge. You can see on the front side how flat it really is. Flat, straight, little, basically almost like a liner brush. And I'm going to stick with that black shade. And I'm just going to make a really smoky line right on top of those lashes. This is going to kind of give us like a faux liner, smoky liner kind of effect. I'm even going to go as far as taking it and kind of winging it out here, although you won't be able to see that a whole lot. You can see it just a tad, so I am going to do that. So now I'm going to mix the two shades that we used, Hearse and the Morgue, and I'm just going to kind of mostly tapping into the Morgue, adding just a little bit of Hearse in there. I'm going to smoke out the lower lash line. Now I have a little bit, as you can see, a little bit of that Diet Cola down there, and that's fine. It kind of just ties in the upper and the lower together, so I'm not too terribly worried about it, especially because we'll put it in an inner corner and that'll just kind of tie it all together. I think I'm going to stop with the eyes here, kind of give them a rest, and move into the skin. So I'm going to take a wipe here and I'm just going to clean up any fallout or eyeshadow that's under the eye that doesn't belong. Like all that Diet Cola down there. And then I'm going to go ahead and prep my skin. I'm going to use my Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I have a long day ahead of me, and New Year's Eve is kind of a long day, or night really. And so you want something that your makeup is going to last through. It's gonna keep it looking nice for photos. And like I have talked about the last few times that I've used this primer, I feel like it helps prolong my foundation through the mask wearing. And I will be going places where I have to wear a mask today, and then going places that I won't be wearing a mask that I still want my makeup to look good. For foundation, I think I'm gonna go with the Urban Decay Stay Naked foundation, because this is also a transfer proof foundation. I find using this foundation with a good matte primer helps a lot. And I'm going to be using a Morphe M6 brush today to apply my foundation. I like using a foundation brush when I've already done my eyes, because I can get right up under them and get a little bit more precise about where my foundation is placed. And then I just go in afterwards and use my beauty sponge to clean up any of those brush streaks. Now I'm just taking the Tarte Shape Tape again and concealing my face. I'm going to take my Anastasia Beverly Hills Loose Setting Powder in the shade Translucent, and I'm going to bake my under eyes. I like to use this one for like parties and special occasions because it's very brightening. So I don't know, I feel like it's kind of more party makeup, if that makes sense. I am going to also bake the edge of my nose, which I don't usually do with this powder, but for the purpose of the mask, I am going to just go ahead and do it. And I'm also, because this powder is a little more brightening, I'm going to bake all the way up the bridge of my nose, just to make it look more intentional. While that powder is kind of setting in, I'm just going to take my e.l.f. Sheer Tint Finishing Powder in the shade of Fair Light and set the rest of my skin down. And I'm just going to kind of work around that baking. Okay, once I feel like, alright, that's pie baked long enough, I'm going to go ahead and kind of start sweeping over the rest of the baking. See what I mean though? I feel like that powder just kind of really brightens those areas up a lot. But man, do we look matte and flat. So let's bronze up, and I think I'm gonna go with with my favorite bronzer, my Hoola bronzer from Benefit. Gosh, it is so foggy out today. I just looked out the window for the first time in a little while, and it is still really foggy. I had kind of expected the fog to burn off by now, and it has not. For highlights today, I'm going to use this new highlight palette. It's the Jouer Lucky and Luminous highlight palette. Look how pretty that is. Aren't those colors gorgeous? They're a cream highlight, which I didn't realize, but that's all right. I can work with a cream highlight, I think. I am going to use a brush, however, and I think I'm going to dip into, I have used it once, so you can see it kind of, this is actually a really white shade, and that's the shade I'm going to stick with. So I'm just going to use this brush. It had a little bit of pink on it, and that's why that product looks like that. I'm just going to dip into it and kind of stipple it down onto my cheeks. But I chose this brush because it's got a lot of texture to it. With the long and the shorter bristles, I figured it would give me a good texture. Oh, that's really pretty. I'm gonna work that up onto the forehead as well, around the temple there. Now, I don't usually use cream products, like I said. I've never really used a cream highlight before, so this is kind of a first time for me, really working with a cream product, but I don't mind this one. I've used like cream highlight sticks and I did not enjoy those, but this I don't mind. This I seem to be able to handle okay, and maybe because I'm treating it more like a powder product, as far as, you know, just in my mind, it's in a powder like packaging, and I'm using it with a brush, but instead of rubbing it or swooshing it, you know, swiping it on, I am just stippling it on. And I'm just gonna do a little on the edge of the nose. And I'm gonna do a little bit up here on the bridge of the the bridge of the nose, kind of in between the brow and the nose, I guess. Maybe a little on the Cupid's bow. Now let's jump into blush. I have just this single blush here called Rosy Nude, and that is what it is. It's just a really simple nude rose color, so I think that'll be perfect for this, as I don't really want to go too pigmented, but I do want to add just a little something. So yeah, that's pretty. I'll add just a little to the end of the nose because I like to do that. Go ahead and add us an inner corner highlight real quick. So I'm going to go into my Hot Buttered Rum palette here. I love the shade called Whipped Cream in the palette. It's the really bright shimmery shade in there. I think it makes a stunning inner corner. You could go ahead and use the same silvery shade you used on the cut crease if you wanted. I actually contemplated doing that, and I said, you know what? I like my whipped cream, so I'm going to use that instead. Now, I'm going to go ahead and spritz my face down really good with my e.l.f. Makeup Mist and Set. And now I'm going to go ahead and throw on some lashes, and I will be right back. So I think these lashes, which I used actually in my last makeup video, I think they're the Lava Lashes Los Angeles in the style, I almost said shade, in the style Charm. They're really pretty. They're long, super long, but they're actually really wispy, and I think they just look really pretty for a pretty darn glam look. But I really enjoy them. I'm going to go ahead and throw on a lip now, and I think I'm going to do a lip duo, but I'm going to start with this being my base. This is the KVD Liquid Lip in the shade Bow and Arrow. I want to add some dimension to lighten it up a little bit. So I'm going to take this NYX Liquid Lip Lingerie. Actually, that's probably upside down, right? Like that. In the shade Baby Doll. I feel like that just makes a really pretty nude lip that's darker, but it's not too awfully dark. But I love how this look turned out. I think on New Year's Eve, I'm going to wear not this clip, but like some bobby pins and do that really fun trend that's been going on. So I'll just take this side out for now. But what do you guys think? Do you guys like this look? I love how it turned out. Actually did a look very, very, very similar to this last year, but I modified it and tweaked it into something more my technique and style for this year, but I used very similar colors. I think I did a darker lip, but as far as the eye look goes, very similar. but I absolutely love this look. A little dark, to be honest, for what I'm going to be actually doing today, because of course I'm not filming this on New Year's Eve because I want to get this out a little earlier for you guys. But I think this look is absolutely gorgeous. This will be so much fun to wear to a New Year's Eve party. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this look. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments. And if you did like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year, everybody. Bye.